Hello everyone, welcome to Wednesday's Latin video. Hopefully those two translations on Monday went really well. And before you proceed with this video, make sure you translate 3, 4, and 5. So do those first and then click play. I want you to spend at least 5 up to 15 minutes per translation until it feels pretty satisfying. And then you should proceed to watch this. These are the lectiones that I will be selecting from for Friday's quiz, and at the end of the video, I will go over the other things you should look over for Friday's quiz. All right, let's get into it. Number one, Rem publicum magna cum spe gessit. This one couldn't really get too much easier. So hopefully right off the bat you see Rem publicum and you think accusative, could it be a direct object? And then when you say magna and spe, sandwiching cum, you're thinking ablative, hopefully. There's our fifth declension chart with the ablative singular ending bolded. Remember that is the grammar for this chapter, but yeah, it hasn't proven too difficult to parse these fifth declension nouns. By the way, you guys might have noticed for I think like 2 days straight, I was making ablatives blue for some reason. I don't know why that happened. Blue is the indirect object color. Green is the object of a preposition, which is not the indirect object color. So yeah, I use green for the ablatives. Sorry about that. All right, so she or he or it managed or has managed the Republic with great hope. So super straightforward. I guess maybe you could have gotten thrown off a little bit on gero, gerera. That's what this verb is from. So it could be wage or carry out or manage. You don't quite wage a republic or a government. So carry out or manage is probably the best way to go with this. But yeah, drop subject, third person singular subject, verb to direct object with an ablative of manner. That is ablative of manner. That's your kind of like typical ablative of manner because hope is this abstract concept. And we have cum there, which spe is the ablative object of. Okay, number two, eoda wikini eos cum cura laboraverunt atque multas res paraverunt. Sorry. This one's not too bad. There's one thing that might have thrown you off. I started to overthink one word in this, which we'll get to. But initially, AODA, you should think that's ablative. We were just looking at fifth declension ablative. DAs with that just that long E at the end has to be ablative. So that'd be like on this day or something like that. Wikini could have been a couple different things. It could be a subject or a genitive, and it is right next to a genitive. So you might have had an issue with wondering is this genitive or is it a subject? Neighbors or of the neighbors? Which is it? It turns out it should probably just be nominative. It doesn't really make sense for it to be genitive in this case. It would be possessive of the day, and like what is a day of a neighbor? Yeah, that's very vague. So it's just on this day, the neighbors of his neighbors or her neighbors, with care, worked. Laboraverunt is just worked or have worked, and also prepared many things. So once again, this one is grammatically very straightforward, especially coming off of that Cicero. We start off with a little ablative of time when, AODA. Then we have eos as genitive of wikini. Cum cura is once again an ablative of manner with cura as the object, a second time in a row. And then multas res, many things, is our direct object, prepared many things. And both the verbs are perfect tense. So hopefully that went really well. All right, let's go on to the next three that you just got finished doing. Paucis de vos cicero rem publicum e periculo eripiet. All right, so let's see here. Let's go through this left to right. So when I see Paucis diebus, the first thing I think is, oh, that's kind of like how number two started off. That must be an ablative of time when. So hopefully you guys are thinking a similar thing. That is endings like ibis or abus, those should make us think of ablative. And if it's a period of time, which a day is a period of time, then it's probably ablative of time when, as in like on, this ablative of time or in this ablative of time. Cicero, He's probably just a subject, right? Hopefully that is another thing that kind of jumps out to you, that he's just good old nominative. Then rem publicum, we've already seen that in this case. That is accusative. That must be the direct object. And then a periculo, that must be what? A is short for x. X is a preposition that takes an ablative. So that could be ablative. That O should technically be long, I suppose. A periculo, eripiet. All right, so we have two different kind of ablatives. One is a bit easier than the other, I suppose. But this one is not too difficult. In a few days. So that's how we should take paucis diebus. In a few days, the subject verbed rescued or has rescued the direct object republic from danger. So from danger is an ablative of place from which. So yeah, that's an interesting example of an ablative of place from which, where it's not a location. Danger is like a state that the thing is being rescued from. But I would venture to argue that it's still an ablative of place from which, just kind of in an interesting way. And republic is direct object, so nothing really too complicated going on there. I think that these sentences are just designed to help us, gloss and parse some of these fifth declension nouns. But yeah, after coming off that Cicero reading, which we will finish on Friday, they're seeming pretty easy. Ubi and Genua kekiterat amicus eum sestulit. You guys are going to like 23. Chapter 23 is going to get real spicy. Okay, what should we do with this? Well, I see ubi, that's going to be when or where. Probably, well, it depends on the context. And Genua, we keep running into this. I'm thinking for that is an accusative object of in. Not ablative. That would have to be genu with just a long u, or genibus if it was plural. So it's actually accusative plural. So it's something about on two knees. We keep seeing that over and over again. On two knees. Amicus. Amicus sure looks subjecty. Eum sestulit. Eum must be anyone? Direct object. All right, and then once again we have tolo tolera sestuli sublatum showing up again. So we have to play this little mini game of picking raise or lift up or take away or remove, depending on the context. So how about something like, looks like we kind of have a setup here, like when this happened, this happened. So it looks like we're going to use when for ubi. So when he had fallen onto his knees, and I'm going to add his. They keep on refusing to give us a reflexive possessive adjective or any kind of possessive energy for knees, but it sounds weird to say had fallen onto knees. Um, I guess we would maybe say when he fell on knees. On no, you would totally have a genitive possessive for that. But anyway, when he fell onto the knees, the friend raised him up. Now, why am I choosing raised him up? Just given the context, I don't think, because otherwise it'd be when he had fallen onto his knees, the friend destroyed him, which would be weird. Yeah, what else could it be? The friend took him away. um, yeah, the idea is like this person is like doing some kind of ceremony, like bowing, and the other person is like getting him up off of his knees. Yeah. So, but yeah, with such a weird verb, you can kind of choose your own adventure if you want. All right, I suppose this is the last one. Manum dextrum ex igna protinus eripuit sed tamen omni sensu caruit. All right, so I'm going along left to right. And so I'm modeling this with the color coding thing because hopefully that's the same logic and sequence of logic that you all have when you're translating. So when I'm first going along, hopefully you guys kind of are struck with this thought that these two words go together and that they're probably accusative. So that tells us manus must be a feminine word, hand must be feminine, because dextrum has a feminine ending, and they're both accusative, singular. So that's some kind of accusative. We need more information. Ex igna, that's this new fifth declension word, ignis, igna. And so if I'm seeing it right next to x right there, and I'm sorry, that's this is third declension. Yeah, okay. Ignis. But anyway, because it's not a long e, it's just a third declension ablative e. So that's ablative because x takes an ablative. This is the second time we've seen x pop up. Protinus is an adverb, eripuit is a verb. So okay, we have predicate stuff there. Sed is a conjunction connecting us to a second clause. Tamen omni sensu caruit. Omni sensu. Those long vowels right next to each other. Omni is third declension. So that long I is actually dative or ablative, and sensu, it's pretty much just ablative. Because I don't think that's the neuter one. Is it? It could be. If sensu's neuter, then technically that could be anything. Let me look it up real quick. But yeah, so hopefully that kind of glossing is happening. And in a weird way, I've never focused so much on highlighting noun phrases in this way until we started doing the videos. But I kind of like the take on Latin that I get from this. So hopefully it's useful for you guys as well. Okay, sensus is masculine. Yeah, knee is still the only neuter fourth declension we have. Weird. Okay, so maybe you got something like he or she, drop subject, snatched the right hand. So snatch the direct object, right hand, from the fire, from out of the fire, immediately. But he lacked all sense, nevertheless. So yeah, I guess this person, I don't know why they had their hand in the fire in the first place. It could be related to that story about the Skyvola guy who puts his hand in the fire. I think you guys might have talked about that in history. I don't know that story very well. All right, so yep, this one's not too bad. In general, these are very straightforward sentences. I bet I'd go for a longer one, like 2 or 5 or something like that, on the quiz on Friday. I'll pick one of these. There will be a bonus question as well. And you better believe I will be underlining any ablative I can, since ablative is kind of part of the focus of this chapter. And I would definitely be underlining at least one fifth declension noun, asking for you to parse it completely, meaning I want the case and the function and everything. So if you weren't taking notes and going through these and using gel pens or highlighters or whatever else, that's what you need to do to make sure you just ace these translation quizzes. And then go over these as well, because I will pick at least 10 of them, and you'll need to translate them, and it will not be matching necessarily. And then, yeah, this is the other piece of information. So, like, there's 3 things. Go over these, and go over these, and then you guys will be ready for chapter 23, and that will actually be the last chapter. Yep, it will. Okay. Just thinking about the calendar again. So on Friday we'll finish up the Cataline, and I might start to introduce some of chapter 23. All right. We'll talk to you on Friday. Thank you.